Hey, what's up guys, Davis here, and today I'll be reviewing the Samsung Galaxy a54 5G, and as always, the video will be in the form of pros and cons. So basically the things I like and the things I don't really like about this device. The first thing I really like about this phone in my time using it was the design. The design on this is really good. I really like the aspect ratio, which is much shorter and more wide, which to me is better for content consumption, especially when it comes to things like long form videos on YouTube and movies or playing games even. The closer to 16:9, the better, for me at least. Yeah. So moving on to the display on the Galaxy A54, which is the other thing I really like about it. So the display on here is 6.4 inches, it's Super AMOLED, and it also supports HDR10+, so has 120 Hz. Obviously, that's a standard feature now. And these A50 series phones, and really smooth. And now it has dynamic switching between the refresh rates from 60 to 120, 120 to 60, and that helps with saving battery. Very nice display. The only thing that maybe I can fault it for is the bigger bezels, but that's something I've gotten used to in my time using it, so not a big deal. That's something you get used to. And the quality on this, can't fault it. Really good. Watching movies, playing games, all that, you're going to be okay. And with this new aspect ratio that you had, similar to what you have on the S23, it's much wider and shorter. I prefer it all the time. It's actually better for most things in my experience. Though I would have preferred a bigger display, maybe at 6.6 inches around there, but maintaining the same aspect ratio, I would have preferred that. But even now, as small as it is, I still like the display on the Galaxy A54, so it's certainly a pro. Moving on to the speakers. So the speakers on here are really good, loud enough, and have enough bass. So you have a bottom firing speaker here, which is your main speaker that produces most of the sound, but even up top here, the speaker is actually loud. This earpiece that acts as your second speaker is really solid, so you guys can take a listen for yourselves. So as you guys have heard, you have enough bass with this device. Can't really complain about the speakers. So that with this good display makes for a really good consumption experience. So you're playing games, listening to music, whatever you're doing with media, you're going to really enjoy it when it comes to this device. The thing I really liked on the A54 here is the haptics. I think these are the most improved feature for the Galaxy A54 as compared to the A53. So the haptics are really good. It feels more like a Z-index motor that they have in here, so it's much more precise. And I usually actually turn off the haptics for the gestures on these devices, but for the A54 I actually leave them on because the haptics are really much more improved and more precise. So the haptics are much more improved. Okay, like they're not flagship good, but much better. They're so similar to what you had with the S21 FE. So if you have experienced the device, that's the experience you're gonna have with this. Okay, it's not the strongest haptic motor, but it's more precise, and it doesn't feel like as lousy as the ones we had on the earlier A53. So yeah, the haptics I think are actually very much improved on here. And the other thing I like on the A54 here is the software experience. So this phone was released with Android 13, One UI 5, but now it has been upgraded to One UI 6 with Android 14. And as you guys can see from this quick settings panel, you have your Wi-Fi and Bluetooth separate, and then the other quick settings that you have. Then you also have your brightness controls. So for the most part, it's a really nice experience. And with One UI 6, you also got a few updates with a lot of things added here. Things like the font, the camera UI was changed a lot as well. So yeah, when it comes to software, and you're actually guaranteed 3 more major software upgrades, which are good for longevity. So you can use this phone comfortably for the next 5 years and not even have to think about it. I really enjoyed using the A54, and the software experience is really good. No problems here. So generally, I'll say that the cameras on here are solid. Front-facing camera is a 32 megapixel shooter, and can actually do 4K 30 FPS, which is really solid. And the videos on here, very nice. The cameras, the photos, this thing puts out really solid. Haven't had any issues with this phone. Maybe low light images, not the best, but that's something most phones suffer with. But here it's not actually that bad. It's usable, and outdoors photos are really solid. Haven't had any issues. Considering the price of this phone, you can't really go wrong with the cameras. For me, I haven't really had any issues with the front-facing camera. And moving on to the back here, have your ultra wide and main cameras. So the main is 50 megapixels and the ultra wide is 12 megapixels, and they both have really good quality. And you also have a 5MP macro camera here for those who need to take macro shots. But yeah, something I never really use, but it's good to have it there as well. At least you don't have useless depth sensors they usually put. But for the most part, the cameras on here solid. Even the ultra wide takes solid video, especially with good lighting. It struggles a bit in darkness, but yeah. And actually, I've recorded most of the videos that you guys have seen on this channel with this phone. So yeah, the video quality on here is really good, no issues whatsoever. And yeah, on the back here you can also do 4K 30. You can't really do 4K 60, which is the downside. I don't like the fact that you can do 4K 60 because I think, yeah, at this point these phones can really support it with the chipset that they have. And that brings me on to the other point which I want to talk about, which is the performance on this Galaxy a54. So it has the Exynos 1380, and for the GPU you have the Mali G68. So the performance on here has really been good for me. Haven't really experienced issues. Played very many games, as you guys have seen in my various gaming videos. Played eFootball, I played this FC Mobile, Call of Duty, all of those games. You guys can see those. You can find those videos on my channel where I was playing games on this device, and it doesn't let me down once. It's really been good. For most of the games, you can max out the settings and you still have a very nice experience. And as combined with the display here and stereo speakers, it's a nice experience playing games on this phone. And the battery life is also very good. So I really enjoyed playing games. And the other thing that I like about the performance is the fact that you can actually edit videos better than you used to do with the A53 and the A73. So I think they added faster storage on this device. So editing videos, you can really edit more layers at higher resolution in most of the video editing apps as compared to the A73 and A53. Hopefully that carries on to the newer phone, the A55, which will be released maybe in 3 months time from now. So when it comes to the performance, I haven't really had issues with the Galaxy A54. Performance on here, solid, especially considering the price of it. Playing games, record, editing videos, all that stuff, had no issues. And actually the RAM management is also good, and it's also complemented by the new RAM Plus features that you have, where you can use part of your storage as RAM. Something I never really used, but yeah, you have 8 GB of physical RAM, which is good enough. So for performance, yeah, the A54 is really good, no issues in my experience. And the other thing I'll talk about is the battery life. And the battery life on this, solid. In my time using it, I've never really had to think about the battery. I easily go through the day without any issues. And if a person who uses the phone lightly, you can easily go to days, especially if you put it down to 60. You'll be very okay. In my experience, I've been using it with 120 Hz all the time and never had to think about it. Easily go through the day, plug it in at night, that's it. Very solid battery life, haven't had issues. Maybe the only thing I'll complain about when it comes to battery is the fact that it still charges at 25 watts. Most phones are now charging at much faster rates, 67 watts, 120. So 25 watts is actually not that slow, but it's behind the times. That's about the battery. Solid. Only thing that is not really good here is the charging speed. The other thing I'll talk about is fingerprint scanner here. It's actually very quick, as you guys can tell here. Just tap it once and you're good to go. And it's very accurate and reliable. And I have a screen protector on this device, and it still accurately identifies my fingerprint without issues at all. So yeah, the fingerprint scanner on here is also very fine, no problem. The last thing I'm going to be talking about when it comes to the pros is the network and the connections. I haven't really had issues with this. Call quality, very good. Wi-Fi, no issues whatsoever. You can have your dual SIMs and have no issues with calls. You want to get your calls in, no drop in network, and actually performs better than most phones. I've been to places which have very bad reception, but this thing really performed nicely. Never had issues with network on this phone. and it also, yeah, is really okay with even when you have dual SIMs in it, the battery life is still solid. So yeah, that's about the pros of the Galaxy A54. It's generally a positive phone, not many issues, and actually for the cons that I'm going to talk about now, they're mainly nitpicks. I don't really have things that I disliked about this phone. More like there are things that I wish it had, but it doesn't have. So yeah, moving on to the cons now. Basically, I think that. So starting off with the fact that you don't have wireless charging. Obviously, that's something I consider would have added to the price of this, but yeah, that's something that is missing. You also don't have DeX. I think DeX has been around long enough for Samsung to actually move it to some of the A-series phones. Maybe they should keep wired DeX to these A-series phones and only have wired and wireless DeX on the flagships. But I think that's something Samsung can afford to add on here. Maybe we'll put up the price a little bit, but yeah, I think the reason you actually don't have DeX on here is the fact that you're still using USB 2. And that's the other thing I don't like about this device. You're still using USB 2, which is quite slow as compared to USB 3. That's the other thing I didn't really like. And the fact that, okay, you can't record 4K 60. You can only record up to 4K 30 with the rear cameras. So I think that's about the cons I have with this device. Not really many things to hate about it. For the most part, very solid device considering its price. It's a device I can easily recommend to anyone, any day, anytime. If you ask me one phone to recommend to a person, to 95% of people, the Galaxy A54 is it. Very solid device. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.